Hello and welcome to my F1 diary, where I come here not each week after each race, talk about it for a few minutes and share with you some of my favorite memes from the weekend. Before we actually start, I'm pretty new to the sport. This is going to be my first full F1 season, so I'm very excited for that. But also, I don't know everything I need to know, so please be gentle with me. I'm not an expert, I'm just sharing my opinions. And honestly, this is like kind of mostly for myself, just so I can remember my thoughts after each race. So without further ado, let's start with the Bahrain Grand Prix. Well, first of all, it was, I think, a little bit of an underwhelming start to the season. Nothing extraordinary happened or whatever. Red Bull and Max are gonna have an incredible year again. I don't know about you, but I kind of had my hopes up that it would be a lot closer and that teams would be able to challenge Red Bull, but I'll keep my hopes kind of up. Not yet, I guess. But shame on us for thinking it was gonna be close, because Max was light years ahead of everyone. Like, even in front of Checo, who has the same car, he's like on another level. Is he even human? I don't know. So in race pace, Red Bull are incredible. Over one lap pace, everything was really close. I mean, even in Q1, the gap between Max and Pierre, who was 20th and Max was first, it was just over a second. The entire grid, that's crazy. So over one lap, yeah, everyone's super tight. But race pace wise, I think there is a lot of work for all the other teams. I do think it's gonna be closer, like the top 5 and the bottom 5s are gonna be closer to each other. Like bottom 5 are gonna really be close, and top 5 are also gonna be closer than last year. And that kind of summarized like the whole weekend was Max post-race radio when he said, "Simply lovely."
That was simply lovely.
Iconic. And then in his post-race interview, he said, "It was very enjoyable to drive today," while everyone else behind him were all like struggling. Charles with his brake issues. George had a power unit hitting issue, as well as the Williams. Both Williams had power unit overheating issues. And poor Logan had a brake balance issue, which put him out of the race. That was so disappointing because he kind of had like a fine race before, like a decent race. James Vowles came out to say that they couldn't really be competitive today because of the overheating issues they had. The brake balance, by the way, was because of the new steering wheel they have. So yeah, broken brakes, broken power unit, broken wheel. Lewis had a broken seat, which I have no idea how that happens. And the only technical issues Red Bull were facing was a broken radio for Checo, which was kind of a little bit funny if you ask me, because it wasn't really relevant or like had any significance in the race, but they put it on broadcast anyway. Checo was like, "You have to scream, I can't hear you." That's kind of funny. Other than that, the turn 1 incident, or should I say incident, was just an incident. Hulk, poor guy, he qualifies like crazy and then his race is always thrown to shit. And Lance recovered from it really well. And Bottas, who also had like front wing damage from it a little bit, wasn't really screwed over by that. He was screwed over by that awful pit stop that they had, which he already holds like the record for longest pit stop in the Monaco 2021 Grand Prix. It technically took 43 hours, so poor guy just doesn't have his luck with pit stops, I guess. But other than that, the Saubers really looked fine. I mean, Zhou gained 6th position, right? He started 17th and he finished 11th, so that's 6 positions, right? I'm not being dumb here. I'm really bad at math, by the way. So the Saubers looked pretty fine. It could be competitive, like with RB. I hope Williams sort their stuff out, and then maybe Williams. And even Haas, like just Alpine just suck at the moment. Oh, with all the technical issues all the teams had, McLaren didn't have any major issues, which is such a relief and such a calming thing to know as a papaya fan. They did say that the balance was weird and that really struggled with the last corner.
How do you think the race went?
How's the last corner for you, mate?
I wish it didn't exist, but
I was deciding just to cut the whole thing every lap.
Yeah.
But no like major issues like Charles had or anyone else had, which is great. And also double points since 2021 that they've scored any points in the first Grand Prix, so that's great. And also Bahrain isn't like a friendly track to McLaren, and they said that this is what they kind of expected for, so I'm very glad that McLaren are on track, no pun intended, had a good start. What else happened? Oh, I don't know how to call them V-carb. I mean, I don't want to, the broadcasters are calling them RB, but that's really confusing for me because RB is Red Bull. So I'm just gonna call them V-carb, which I also think is a way cooler name, by the way. Also, everyone's like laughing about Visa Cash App Racing Bulls, like it's such a ridiculous name, but Red Bull is also kind of a ridiculous name. Like, okay, of course, Red Bull are known for like taking on any extreme sport and just nailing it. But like in the bubble, Red Bull, which is a drink, is also kind of a silly name for an F1 team. You know what I mean? So Visa Cash App Racing Bulls is kind of crazy. But I think it's just because we don't take them really seriously, this team, because we take Red Bull very seriously. So no one's joking about that fact that it's an energy drink. And V-carb is a kind of a cool name, or even just Visa. So V-carb, that's what I'm gonna call them throughout the series. The driver swap, so dumb. I love Danny just as much as the next guy, but that was kind of stupid. First of all, it was like the weirdest timing ever. They did that to like get ahead of Kevin and maybe Joe, but there was no chance that they would get into the points. And like apparently it was a strategy that they talked about before the race, but Daniel was supposedly faster on the soft tires, so they wanted to swap him with Yuki to pass Magnussen. So the swap itself slowed both of them down and opened up the gap to Kevin. And then also they had to let Max go through, so that also slowed them down and even opened up the gap even more. So stupid ass timing, and when he couldn't do it, why not swap the places back? I mean, not that it's like actually matters, like it's not points. I don't know. I think Yuki has the right to be pissed. I don't think like the thing that he did on the cooldown lap, sure, it was a little bit immature. It could have damaged the car. So he shouldn't have done that. He should have just taken it with the team in the debrief. But he has every right to be pissed off, I think. And like, if we're looking at it, like, okay, supposedly Daniel was faster, but Yuki was really close to passing Magnussen. I mean, he was like that for like 4 or 6 laps, being really close to Magnussen. But I would have said, not that I'm good at strategy or whatever, I would have said let Yuki pass Magnussen, and then because then he's faster than Yuki, he's going to pass Magnussen no problemo. So then they would have both gained a position. Maybe what I'm saying is like really couldn't have happened, but I don't know. Maybe if it was earlier in the race, just like a few laps earlier, it would have been fine, but it was not necessary when they did that. So it's not actually like a big deal. It's not like they were in the points or whatever. So it's just a little bit of like drama that they're gonna sort out within themselves. Yeah, so those are all my notes. A bit of a boring race, if I'm honest. Like, apart from everyone's technical issues, but that's not a race that is enjoyable to watch, like everyone having technical issues. I want to see like actual racing, and most of them couldn't because of their technical issues. I don't know what happened to Aston Martin today. The pace just wasn't there, although Lance did recover really well from the turn 1 incident. And also Checo, is it crazy to say that Checo had a better race than Max? I'm truly asking this because Max, he was in clean air the whole race, so no problem for him. He didn't need to defend anyone, he didn't need to attack anyone. Sure, he earned this place, he earned pole position, but that's like an easier race. He didn't see any cars for the most of it, while Checo, he started P5 and ended P2, so he did overtake a few people, even if not like on track, but with the strategy. I think that still takes more effort than just driving in clean air, coming into the pits whenever you need to, because no one's going to be behind you when you come out no matter what. So yeah, it's a very impressive race from, obviously Max was very impressive. The gap that he pulled, insane. Also very impressive from Checo and of course Carlos. I'm very glad to see some red on the podium. Yeah, I'm very excited to watch the next race in Saudi Arabia. Supposedly a better track for McLaren, so hopefully everything's gonna be okay. Hope everyone sorts out their technical issues so we can have like actual racing. But yeah, that was it for the Bahrain Grand Prix 2024. Hope we have a great year of racing. Hoping to see some papaya on the podiums, maybe an RB podium for Yuki or Daniel, or just like more points for RB, I guess, and Williams and Ferrari. I hope they are real contenders for the championship this year. Here are some of my favorite memes from this weekend. Thank you for watching. Bye.